Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is Heather Havenwood. Woohoo! Okay. Heather Havenwood, Like a Boss. You can find us on Roku, iTunes, Spotify, even Amazon Alexa. I can't say that too loud because my Alexa's behind me and she might start barking. Okay. So today I have someone on our show today that I've known a long time. Tom, you there?
I'm here.
I'm just going to dive in, because usually I do this big bio, but
I remember the moment I met you. I remember it was at an NSA convention. I was talking to somebody. You walked up, introduced yourself. We're pitching something. I don't remember what it was at the time. And then you left. And I remember saying to the guy next to me, I said, you know what? Someday that's going to be a sexy boss.
No, you're so lying.
Well, yeah, because I'm probably didn't use that exact language, but yeah, it was like both of us were like, what just happened? Holy jeez.
Who are you talking to?
I don't know. Who could remember that when you showed up?
Oh my God, you're so sweet.
Sexy boss.
So, yeah, God, that was Orlando National Speaker Association meeting, probably 02, 03.
Whatever you say. I never think backwards. So.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, but you haven't aged and I have, so screw the commute you.
Screw the commute you. Okay. So everyone's like, who the hell is this guy? Okay, by the way, this is Tom Antion. He's never had a job in his life. He owns the podcast, Screw the Commute, which I'm going to be on here shortly the next couple of weeks. He has an internet multimillionaire's guy next door approach and has been a professional speaker and entertainer since 1988. He says he's taught more professional speakers than anyone living, and he's the founder of the only licensed, dedicated internet marketing school in the country, along with the only facility of its kind in the world, the Great Internet Marketing Retreat Center.
Right here. Here it is.
Right here.
I'm sitting in it.
Where people come in all over the world and study internet marketing in the lap of luxury. Tom's new podcast, Screw the Commute, teaches people how they can pretty much live two lives for the price of one if they weren't sitting in the car on the way to work, making someone else rich. So you and I did meet at the National Speaker Association in early 2000s.
Someday. And
wow, things have changed, right?
Well, like I said, you haven't. I have, but
things have.
The world's changed, but you know, I've been on the internet since '94, since it started. So there's every day a new tool comes out that we can use to get rich. So I like the change. That's
right.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you do a lot of things about speaking. And, you know, the thing I wanted to ask you about, because people ask me all the time, you know, is speaking dead? Is the speaking business? I mean, the National Speaker Association, I think, is still around.
Yeah. It's still around. Sure. But no, it's not dead, but you have to adjust with the times. And of course, with a guy like me who doesn't like to be controlled by others, you know, I quit corporate speaking 20 years ago. I mean, my fee was 20 grand when I quit. And it wasn't worth it. And it wasn't worth being all PC and everybody gets offended over everything. So I do public events now, or webinars. There's other ways to speak rather than just running your mouth on a stage somewhere. In fact, there's way more ways than that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way I'm in charge. And I told you before, you know, my back of the room sales are 5 times minimum what I ever did at a corporate job, which I had to give commissions and all that stuff. So I say make your own way. If you can speak, you can make it in today's atmosphere for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about this atmosphere now. You know, what is that now? So first, let me just paint the picture. When you and I first met, definitely it was about getting paid to come and speak at a corporate gig, and then they may or may not allow you to sell the back of the room, or it was going to the seminar circuit, where I definitely was for many years, and then that you didn't get paid at all, and then you only sold the back of the room. You know, what's the model now? What's the model now?
Those seminars are still out there, but they're having one heck of a time putting people in seats. There's so many rip-off speakers. I started a whole thing called Seminar Scams and wrote an article about all the ways you can get robbed at a seminar. And you know, I quit speaking at them because I want to take a shower. Everybody on stage is making up a bigger bunch of BS to outsell the next person. And there was literally homeless people in the audience. You know, they'll do anything to get some bodies in there. So that's kind of gone by the wayside. But I invented a method a while back that has just got no competition that's one of the greatest, most wonderful things. It's called speaking at fundraisers. Because most of the regular speakers, nobody teaches this, and you can make a lot of money for a group. You make a lot of money, and everybody's happy. So that's the way I break speakers in nowadays.
So fundraisers. Okay, how does that work? So I'm in Austin, Texas, and there's a ton of nonprofits here, and there's a ton of fundraisers here. And how do I make money from that? If it's a fundraiser, how does that work?
All right, so you create a seminar on whatever topic you want. And a lot of the topics would never fly in the corporate world anyway.
Right.
So you could go to a church, let's say. I like churches because they have their own AV and volunteers, and it knocks a lot of the expenses off. But anyway, they're always raising money for something, right?
Right.
So you pre-package a seminar. They pitch it to the congregation who loves them anyway and is going to support them no matter what they put out there, right? And you split the money on the front end. You build your database like crazy with people that have seen you speak now, and you tithe them 10% of the back of the room sales. So I can't tell you how many playgrounds I built over the years, many years, of kids I'll never meet, but got to play on the playground because I went and did a fundraiser for them.
Okay, so let's break this down. So fundraising is, I think, different than a church. So you're saying that I should go speak at the church in front of their congregation?
Well, no, not whoever bought tickets to come to this special event fundraiser with Heather Havenwood. Yeah.
Oh, so it's I thought you meant I go to other people's fundraisers.
No, yeah, you're making a fundraiser for an organization. Doesn't have to be a church. It could be the archery club. It could be the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, I'm creating a fundraiser for the nonprofit organization on my tweet.
Exactly. And then
I didn't understand.
You split the money instead of they get all of it. And I've done it over 100 times. I've saved organizations from going under. And it's just beautiful because everybody wins, and nobody could afford in these places to bring somebody like me in and pay me. So I'm taking a little bit of risk, but I have a whole program on how to teach them to market, how to market, and to oversee it to make sure there's not one person in the crowd once you get there. But I mean, with 100 or 200 people, you can come home with several $1,000. Everybody's happy. They start bragging to all their other groups about you, and pretty soon you'll be turning fundraisers down.
So so I get it. I didn't understand when you said fundraiser. It didn't make sense to me. So I want to break this down.
Most of the time, you're just doing it as a pro bono, hoping somebody sees you and likes you. No, it's different.
Okay, so I'm creating the fundraiser, the Heather Havenwood fundraiser, and I'm going to give the money to the nonprofit. I love Pets Alive here. It's a big organization for pets, and I'm a dog lover, as you and I just bonded over.
Right.
So I'm going to do a fundraiser for Pets Live, right? And I'm going to sell tickets for $150 for fundraiser. I'm speaking. It's my event, right? And then a percentage of the funds go back to Pet Live. And then where do I make the next level?
That's one way. The other way is that you just create the seminar and take it to Pets Live.
Okay.
They promote it with their machine of promoting, and Heather Havenwood's going to be here. We're doing a big fundraiser to fund X, Y, and Z. They get their publicity machine. They sell the tickets, and you get half of the proceeds. That's a better way when you go to a group that's bigger than you are, because they have all the members that already love them. See, so and then you can't do a fundraiser for you every day because people get burned out on it. But you can go to different groups forever. I mean, you could do this full time basically because every time somebody sees I could have Heather Havenwood and not have any expenses and make money because she appeared, they'd be like, "Come on, bring it on." So that's the way.
Okay, got it. I like churches, like you said, they already have this place, they already have the AV, they already have that. So you show up on an off night, like a Tuesday night to do, how to
keep your kids off of drugs, how to make your kids successful in school. I mean, all these things that wouldn't fly in a corporate setting.
And then the congregation pays a fee to go.
Yeah, and it might be $20, not $150.
Right. But then where's the big money? Do you just sell in the back of the room your programs?
Well, figure this out. If 200 people bought tickets, there's $4,000 at the door. You split $2,000 and $2,000. So you already made $2,000, all right, which is good for any kind of beginner speaker.
Yeah.
And then 200 people, somebody like you might sell, at the back of the room, a $40 something or other, and you give them $4 and you keep 36 and you sell 50 of them, you made another couple grand. Okay. And then you got those people that already have seen you on your database. And then if you're smart, you follow up with email promotions on every new product you come out and you get an ongoing revenue stream. So now you put it in front of a big church, put 500 people there. Okay. You get you split 10 grand and you sell 100 or 200 somethings at the back of the room, especially if you sell like I do. I sell an ongoing thing that's a lot of money. Then when I get in front of a group, I'm looking at a possible $1 million day, just one group, because of what I have to sell on the back end. Now, you don't start that way, but it's easy and there's no competition. Nobody is hitting the same group up and say, hey, let me be the speaker. Heck with Heather. No, you're the only one. Right? And these
Heck with Heather. What are you talking about? Get over here. That's why you stay in Virginia Beach, Tom. You stay in Virginia Beach.
I'm not coming to Austin. It's too hot. It's too hot down here.
What are you talking about? It's too hot. It's not too hot.
Yeah, it's 93 up here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, no, I love this model. And the reason I keep kind of going down that road again, and I thank you for giving so much and being so gracious with like the content piece, is because so many people ask me, oh, I want to speak. How do I make money doing that? And there's always this kind of like, well, this like you said, the seminar world is just jacked up in a lot of ways. I mean, you have to really know that world. You got to be really in to be at the really good events. And as you know, there can be all kinds of things that happen in the promotion side. The promoter take the money and they scam the money. I mean, there's just like so much scam that can happen. Not for the participants. I'm talking the business side. There's two sides of a seminar, right? There's the student who's there and their experience and the content they get. And then there's a whole other world you and I both
Oh my God. Yeah.
Of like the promoter world, and it's kind of scary, so not scary in a bad way, but like I just stay away from it.
Scary in a bad way, yes, in many ways. If you knew the things that could happen to you,
yeah. I mean, I've been around, right? So I know what happens behind the scenes in a lot of ways, right? So it's the dirty side of the entertainment business, like everything, right? So what we're talking about is new ways that people say, hey, I really like to speak. I really want to make money speaking. I'm good at it. I have a client right now, like that's her thing, right? So this is a great thing for me to tell her.
Well, I'm going to give you a copy of the course.
What?
As a thank you for having me on here, and you'll see, man, it's not real complicated. The hardest ones, Heather, are the first couple, because a lot of groups cannot believe they could make a couple $1,000 when they'll do a bake sale for 2 weeks to make $50. They're not thinking in this term, but if you get a couple of these under your belt, get video testimonials, put a fundraising part of your website, you'll have to turn them down, because once the word spreads that they can have somebody like you with no risk, that they go crazy.
Yeah, because it's me.
Exactly. Yeah, and that wouldn't work for everybody, but for you, for sure.
I just love hanging around you. My confidence just goes completely up like this, and I just love that. So thank you, Tommy. You're so adorable. Okay, this is really good. So, okay, let's move on to something else, because I mean, we could talk about this forever, and thank you for the course. That was super sweet. Had no idea you're going to give that to me. That's super nice. I actually want to ask you something about speaking more about kind of what's going on in the industry today. More importantly, obviously talking about fundraisers, but how is there still a big benefit in learning how to speak? And the reason I'm saying that so tongue-in-cheek is I do live in Austin, and if you just go down the street in Austin on any day of the week, everyone's doing this, right? No one's actually speaking to each other, Tom. No one's talking to each other. Like people across the room are like, hey. I was out with some friends at dinner the other night, and we literally turned behind us, and there's two adults. We think they were the parents of the kids, we guess, right? And there was two kids, and both kids had headphones on and were watching, each had their own little iPad, while the parents were also on their iPhone. and no one was talking to each other, but they were eating, and like I just looked at them and I'm like, is this the future? Right?
We have a place called Mount Trashmore here in Virginia Beach. It used to be the garbage dump, and now it's a gorgeous park, believe it or not, with a big lake. I went down there the other day, and I would say out of the 1,000 people I walked by, 950 of them never saw my face because they were looking in their cell phone. In a beautiful park, ducks, geese everywhere, dogs. They didn't see it.
Yeah, they don't see it. Yeah. So what are the benefits of learning to speak today?
So answer it's from two different perspectives.
Okay.
Let's say you're still in the corporate arena and you're trying to make your way and build a career so you can get out of there eventually. But you're the last one to get the can because you're the only one that can stand up at meetings, can do sales presentations, to get money for the organization, to motivate the troops. So if you're in that corporate arena, yeah, you can float right to the top if you're a good communicator. So that's from the corporate angle. From the screw the commute angle, the thing I just told you about of being in front of those couple hundred people at a fundraiser, now they're on your database. So, I'm an internet guy since the internet started. But every time I speak, I get massive spikes in my internet business. Even after the fact, for people that couldn't afford my big stuff, they're on my database. They hear my continual promotion of other things that help them. And it's like a catalyst to your online business. So from both angles, it's very, very powerful skill to have.
So let me ask you, how many products do you have?
We counted one time about 400 over the past 20-some years. I have some are variations and combinations, but about 400. You remember Dottie Walters?
Yeah! Oh my gosh!
She was my first. She got me into professional speaking. I was called her Right Coast son because I would help her at her Speak and Grow Rich seminars, and I spoke at her memorial seminar in Glendale, which is where a producer saw me and now did a documentary about me called The American Entrepreneur. But she got me started speaking, and she was just awesome. But the times have changed quite a bit because she owned a speakers bureau. But speakers bureaus now, you're crazy to approach one unless you have a massive high fee schedule, a big track record, because they got millions of people already way ahead of you, and they're risk averse. You were talking about that on a crypto show with one of the other guests. Risk averse, they don't want to put anybody out there that's not a long track record because they could lose a lot of other bookings from it. So speakers bureaus.
Yeah, risk adverse. So, Gary Vee, I think he gets $150,000 per speaking gig, but he's with the what's it called? There's a name the largest, not the speaking bureau.
Washington bureau?
No, LA.
Oh, in LA, I don't know. Yeah.
The big one that not the speaker bureau, the entertainment that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Those guys. He's not even speaker.
Sure. Yeah, because it's a big name, big following, and they know what they're going to get. Now he might have to rein him in on politically correctness a little bit, but whoever books them is going to understand.
So, but that's a big level. I mean, $150,000, and I think right now it's like a 30-minute presentation or speech. I wouldn't say presentation; it's more like just jibber jabber, right? He's not selling anything.
And he built that from YouTube videos. Really?
He did. Good for him. It's totally cool. Yeah. So, I love that. Okay. Well, I'm just curious, like what was going on in the industry specifically and what was kind of happening and whatnot. And I didn't know you had 400 products. Do you still create products today? Do you still do that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. My newest one is called the One Sentence Business Plan, something I've been using since I was 10 years old. And I wrote a book on how to implement all this little sentence that I have. So, what is it?
One
sentence business plan. Yeah. Okay. From the time I was 10 years old, I create quality products that people actually want at a reasonable price, and I service the customer after the sale. If people would live by that, their businesses would be great. Reasonably priced products that everybody wants and service them after the sale, make them quality products, boom. So I wrote a book on how to implement each part of that little sentence. But
oh my God, that's cool.
So yeah, I create stuff all the time. Yeah, yeah.
You're just a little creator over there.
Yeah, but I like work, get paid. And it's harder in the internet business because stuff changes on you. But I have products I created 25 years ago that still sell in the public speaking arena because they're
Right.
evergreen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, you've been around a long time, and I know that you have a great internet marketing school. What is it called again?
Yeah, it's the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. It's the only licensed, dedicated internet marketing school in the country. It's up by Mount Trashmore, by the way. And then I have where I'm sitting now is the Great Internet Marketing Retreat Center, where people come in and actually live in the house with me for an immersion weekend and a whole year-long program. They have access to me and all my staff.
Oh, wow. That's really hot. Do you help them build businesses?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this since before I met you. Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever hear Corey Rudel?
Of course.
Okay.
Of
Well, that
course.
was my first teacher because from 94 to 96, I didn't make a nickel. I was Wild West trying to figure things out. And then I got training from him in 96. By 2000, I was an internet multimillionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Getting good training from people like you and me and other people that are trustworthy. That's the whole problem nowadays, is figuring out who's going to rob you or not.
Yeah. And of course, Corey Rudel, I have his product somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
The great internet marketer, poor guy. If you don't know who I'm talking about, everybody, Corey Rudel was pretty much the start. I mean,
he was like the 30-year-old grandfather of internet marketing.
Derek Gall.
That was his president. Took over for him after.
Yeah, I interviewed him a couple of months ago, and I didn't know.
I haven't even heard of him for years.
He's in Canada. He's traveling the country doing internet marketing, but I didn't know he was the president. I had no idea the connection until I interviewed him, and I'm like, oh my God, I just didn't know, because he's in Canada and Vancouver. Okay, so question. I love the fact that your internet marketing school is credited. And I remember an email that you talked about that a while back. And what kind of accreditation is it exactly?
Well, it's not accredited, actually. No,
I'm sorry.
In fact, we were going for accreditation, and then we got all the way down to the finish line, and the accreditation body said, you know what, we don't cover this kind of business. I'm saying 3 years we've been working on this with you, and now it's a government people. Oh, it drives me crazy. So no, we're not accredited.
Okay.
But you get an internet marketing certificate. We're considered a vocational school.
Vocational. Okay.
Yeah, it's a vocational school. So,
all right.
But I mean, in 6 months, you'll learn more than you ever would in 4 years of college that makes you actually money rather than give you $1 trillion.
How many people have gone through the vocational school?
Oh, probably close to 200 or so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, It's been around for a while. Yeah.
And what's the tuition-ish?
Tuition is $19,000, and we finance it. You can get in for like $1,000 down, and I finance it myself. You don't have to go get a loan or go credit check or anything because I can finance it myself. So and we stretch it out till whatever you can afford. Yeah.
So I don't know if you know this, but in 2010, I went and got my master's in internet marketing.
I did see that. I read that somewhere. Yeah.
And Full Sail University, which I was the first class to move through it, and that was 2010. Cost me a lot of money for 1 year, and I have to say, it really wasn't worth it. I remember some of the classes I was in, some of my colleagues were realtors and things. They didn't know anything about internet marketing. And some of my 3 or 4 of my quote unquote professors, whatever, they found out who I was, and they were like, you could be, why don't you just teach this class? And I was like, yeah, I know. So they, like, if you reach out to me, we're like, hey, like, seriously, like, you could be like just teaching this class. Like, I don't know what you're doing. I'm like, I don't know. Like, even Ryan Dice, about a year later, because I was all proud of myself that I got it. And Ryan Dice just looked at me and goes, what? Why would you do that? Like, I don't understand. Exactly. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I thought it would help me in some like business side. He's like, he just kind of like did this like little thing and like walked off or something.
Yeah, a lot of these people, they never made a nickel in line ever, and the course probably doesn't change every year.
No, it doesn't at all. I just laugh about that now. But I remember I was at a mastermind a year later with Perry and Ryan Dyson, Perry Belcher, Ryan Dyson. I kind of mentioned it because I was all like proud of it. And I just remember, Ryan doesn't talk to me much, but he just said, why would you do that? And I was like, I don't know, Daddy. So, and he just kind of walked away.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just found it funny. But anyway, back to you. I love what you're creating. What's your big focus right now? What is your big focus right now?
Well, podcasting. Yeah, because I poo-pooed podcasts for years. Because
I know you did. I know you did. And then when I saw your freaking email out there, I was like, I'm in a podcast. I was like, what? That's why I reached out to you, because I'm like, wait a minute. This mofo was dissing podcasting for years.
Totally justified. People were not making money for years. It was just a big ego trip, and they would quit after 20 episodes or something and be done with it. So now it's different.
What do you see now?
Well, the difference is that podcasting has now exceeded the listenership of XM radio, satellite radio. It's free. Automobiles have your Echo, your Alexa right behind you. You can say, hey, Alexa, listen to Screw the Commute. Watch, it'll start playing.
I know.
Yeah. So it's in automobiles now. You can talk to your dashboard and it'll start playing a podcast. So the listenership went crazy. So my whole career, Heather, I use dull edge technology. I let all the geeks figure stuff out, all the cutting, bleeding edge, and then once they figured out, got the bugs out, I swoop in and make all the money. So I'm always behind the curve. It's too risky, risk averse on the edge.
Right, you're on the edge. You're not on the edge. You're kind of like risk averse. Well, I love that.
Behind the edge, so that it's less risky and greater chance you'll be successful.
Behind the edge. It's kind of interesting. So you're like behind the people, so people can fall off the edge in front of you, and then you're behind them swooping a ball.
Yeah, they're bleeding. All their money's gone. They've frustrated from all the glitches. So I wait until all that is clean, and then I watch too, because everybody, you remember. Well, no, you're not old enough to remember MySpace, but
I remember MySpace.
Oh, you're not old enough. Just leave it at that, right? And everybody's going crazy. I'm thinking, I'm going to sit back. And then boom, gone off the face of the earth. So I didn't get on Facebook till it had 1 billion users.
Really? Sure. Okay, so you're a more risk. I mean, I like that. That's interesting that you say that. Like right now, blockchain and crypto is a big thing. It's an edge.
I wouldn't touch that with a 20-foot pole, because I can make a fortune while everybody else is confused and trying to figure that out and losing money. And then I'm just doing my regular thing that everybody can understand. Like when CDs came out from digital, it was going from tapes to CDs and then to digital, MP3s. Everybody on earth knew how to shove a CD into their dashboard. So I just waited, sold till they wouldn't sell anymore. And then I switched to MP3. So
that's really interesting. I kind of like this behind the edge, because you're right. There's a peak, the early adopters, and then there's like the real money that's happening right now with different things with Facebook. There's happening with Amazon right now. It's like, now's the time to kind of get in a lot of different things. People think they've missed the edge, but they really haven't missed the edge. To
me, it's like hitting the lottery. If you get on right at the law, but most people don't win the lottery. All right, so I want something more sure, especially with me teaching other people. I don't want them flipping a coin to hope they make it. I want to give them solid things that work to make sure that they make it and don't get discouraged from some big loss right off the bat.
So right now, who is your market? Who do you market to? Is it speakers or?
It started out that I was like the thing I had 100,000 professional speakers on my email list, and but that started to morph because I've been around since a long time. So all kinds of small business owners started coming to me. So I mean, I had a Michigan. I had a guy that sold $500,000 a year in bingo supplies. I mean, mostly small business owners or people that want to start online. but it started out as professional speakers specifically, and then it morphed from there.
So who is it now? Like who's now? Who's your market now?
Now it's small business owners, period.
It's small business
but
owners.
I got everything and imagine, and I don't suggest that for people to start.
No.
I'm just saying I've been in this for 24 years on the internet alone. And so you just can't help it. People come and say, hey, I got this kind of business. To me, the tools are all the same. Right. It's just how we point them and what we say and the copywriting and all that for your business. Because everybody thinks their business is so unique, but it's not. It's
not. They're still selling services.
They're still selling stuff.
Yeah, I was I no longer at my dentist. I had the dentist for a long time, and I would sit there in my little chair, and he pushes you back, and then I watch put a TV in my face. And I always wondered why he did that, because I said to him, you could put a TV in my face, because he'd put some channel on or something, daytime TV. I said, or you could be putting ads in front of me, or you could be trying to sell me into like a wider smile. And then he's like, oh, do you want to do the wider smile? I go, the teeth clean. I go, well, you haven't sold me. So, I don't need no presentation. He's like, I'm like, I go, how many years have I been coming here? Every 6 months, like clockwork. Right. Not one time have you even tried to sell me on he showed me a commercial. He's like, I don't know what to say. I'm like,
They don't think like that. Yeah. So I get dentists, I get doctors, lawyers, everybody, because they came up through an educational system that totally made it great for us, because they didn't teach them a thing about marketing.
No, they taught nada. They taught nothing about marketing and sales and attraction and copywriting. You know what I'm reading right now? Because I'm in Austin, and I'm near Lorrie Williams. You know who that is, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm reading The Wizard of Ads right now in the middle of that. It's a brilliantly laid out book. It talks about, the psychology of humans and how it hasn't changed over thousands of years and different stuff like that. I think those are the kinds of books that people get so caught up in the technology and the tools, they forget about they're still dealing with these things called human to human. And so you said the tools might alter and change, and who knows what we're going to be dealing with in 5 years, Tom. But at the end of the day, we're still dealing with human beings. Human beings are the ones that pull out their credit card or their Bitcoin or their cryptocurrency or whatever. And they're the ones that make the decisions to buy, to choose, to whatever. I think people forget that. And I'm just having a question. So you've been doing this for 20 years. What do you think is the number one thing that has changed, and the number one thing that has stayed the same, and where do you think we're going in the future? Give me your little prediction.
Well, let me go to what stayed the same first.
Yeah. Okay.
People at my level are still making the bulk of their money on email. All the social media stuff, the only thing that you should have in your mind is to get them the heck off of there. Now, you got to have your numbers big if you're trying to impress people, but that doesn't put money in the bank. You get them the heck off of there onto an email list. And that's still to this day how the big money comes in, through email. Of course, you got to add text marketing and messenger marketing now with the chat bots and all that. But still, again, that's cutting edge stuff that the people with money are not all on that. The younger kids are doing that, and they're having fun, and it's cool and all that. But the people with money are usually a little older. And they're going to be, again, like me, they're going to be dull edge until their grandchildren forces them into something. So that's what stayed the same. The email marketing has stayed the same. What has changed is the enormous number of service, what they call is SaaS, the software as a service. The number of things that you have that are so freaking powerful. For instance, SpeakPipe. I don't know if you use it or not, but SpeakPipe is on all of my websites, where you can leave me a voicemail right on my website. You can click the thing on the side of the site. It comes out. You talk to me. I get an email with your message. I record one back, and you get an email back right on the website. It's free, totally free. I think I got a $20 one because it'll do 400 minutes instead of 30 minutes. But there's just enormous numbers of those available that work like crazy. So we didn't have those in the beginning. In the beginning, I paid $2,000 for a shopping cart, $1,100 for an affiliate program, different company. When they wouldn't work, 6 months later, they're all blaming each other. I mean, just crazy. Nowadays that's boom, done.
Who do you use? I'm just curious now. What's your shopping cart now?
I've been a private label for one shopping cart, Kickstart Cart, for 18 years. They don't give out the figures, but I was their biggest reseller for many years. It's been bought out by web.com now, but I still use it because a lot of people using some of these really fancy systems, they don't even use part of what, I mean, I had one lady, it's not funny. She's paying $4,000 a month for a part-time person to operate her shopping cart. You've heard of it. Well, most people have.
Yeah, I know it's not. You don't even have to name the company. Right.
Plus $300 or $400 a month for the service. She wasn't using 10% of what it does. So
I just want to let everyone know. I know what he's talking about, and the software, I'm not going to name it. It's fine. However, the day I got rid of that software, which was a year and a half ago, almost this month. Yeah. You have no idea how much oh my God, I'm so glad I'm done with them.
Hey, and here's the thing, Heather, it was great, but you need a team of geeks to operate it.
To sit there and operate the software that's supposed to serve you.
Exactly. Right.
Okay.
And it would do some awesome things, but mine will do 90% of that for a third the price, and you do it yourself.
Yeah. My point of that, by the way, for everyone listening, is to understand that just because something's exciting and people are talking about it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best choice, right? And this particular software has been around a long time, and it was the thing. And I even got what I call a grandfather one. I got past one that had been around for almost 10 years. And I actually sold it. I didn't close the account. I sold it. I sold it to somebody else. And they were like, oh my God, I can't believe you're selling this because it's like a grandfather one and they have all these things and your price is so low. And I actually should probably sell it for 4 times the amount of money. I just wanted so much to get rid of it.
Right, exactly.
That I was just like, take this, please, for God's sake, kind of like a house, just take the deed, dude. I don't even want this house anymore. And it was super.
Dude, that's another thing that's changed is copywriting. There's lots of really talented copy people out there that can make a piece of dog do into the greatest thing. You got to have it. And so that's one thing people have to learn, how to sift through the copy, because I mean, I have a copywriting course too. And the thing is it can be used for bad as much as good. So you really have to be careful because they make these things sound like they're the best, and they put $100 into programming to some software and it doesn't work. It's all glitchy, but it sounded great. And they have a 40-mile long sales letter that makes you want to buy it.
So what do you think the future? Give me Tom Antion's little ball, the future.
The future is I'm always going to be behind the guys that are figuring the future out. I'm never going to be in front of them. I'm going to sit and watch them. And so I think there's going to be more bots, messengers, but I don't think the basics are going to change. The basics of go back to my one sentence business plan has been in effect for 53 years right now. All right. So,
wow.
So it doesn't, certain things don't change with people. They want value for themselves, and you have to provide it. No matter what these tools are, that they're going to invent stuff that you can just think your way into things. I'm certain of that. But if you skip to those and pay attention to all of those and forget all these basics of my one sentence business plan, you're still not going to make it. You're going to spend a lot of money, a lot of frustration. You're going to go back to working at a job somewhere because you'll be frustrated.
So the one sentence business plan, is that a whole course or is that just a book?
It's just an ebook. Yeah, it's just to show how to implement each one of those, how I've implemented those over many years in different ways.
So where can they find that and where can they find you?
They're going to find everything at your show notes wherever you happen to keep them. I don't know. How am I supposed to know? I'm just, well,
you can say your URL. No, you can say
so far over the hill. I can't remember going up the hill.
Oh my God, stop. So yeah, HeatherHavenwood.com. There will definitely be show notes at Tom.
Yeah. I'd rather they go to Screw the Commute and
Yeah.
sign up to be on my podcast, where every Monday I give them a deep training session, and then Wednesdays and Fridays I interview people almost as good as you.
Oh, thank you. That was sweet. I think podcasting is a future. I'm putting a lot.
I should have said that. Yeah, because I jumped in because I wouldn't have jumped in had I not thought that.
Where do you think the future is of podcasting?
Oh, I think people will be listening on all kinds of devices. They'll be thrilled because it's free till somebody screws that up, I imagine. And the traditional broadcasters are mad. They do not. If a podcast company is at the National Broadcasting Association convention, they're hated. Everybody hates them because the broadcasters have been charging fortunes for stuff that podcasters are giving away. So.
Yes, there's a couple things with that I share sometimes. I've shared a couple times, which is there's a reason why Netflix just did a deal with SiriusXM. And the reason why they did that is why would they, one of the largest distributions of video in the world, one of them, Netflix, why would they do a deal with a distribution channel that's only audio? And the reality is that everyone's staring at the screen, believe it or not. And people want to listen when they want to listen. They're on the treadmill, they're walking their dogs, they're walking their kids, they're driving the car, whatever, or they don't have the bandwidth. They're in the middle of some third world country or in the middle of North Carolina, whatever. I mean, we're not always on 4G, and sometimes we don't want that. I actually prefer audio over video. I don't like staring at a screen. I prefer to just be able to do things around the house or do other things and listen in the background. I actually enjoy that way more. So I listen to talk radio. I'm very audible. So that's why I've been investing a lot into podcasts.
Well, it's the only medium currently, until they start embedding stuff in your head, that you can learn while you're doing something else. And that's been that way for many years. All right. So, in fact, in my school, some of the consultants that recruiting students, they said, forget webinars. None of those younger people are going to sit down for a webinar ever. Even the old teleseminar is still alive in that market because they can listen about the school while they're doing something else. That's
really, thank you for saying that. I agree with that. The last time I sat through an entire webinar has been a long time. And sometimes I'll have it on in the background and I'll be still like doing other stuff. Whenever they do things like look at the screen or something, or I feel like they're losing me because they're not communicating everything, they assume I'm staring at the screen, I'll cut it down. And the other thing that people don't realize is that there's a lot of people with disabilities as well. That's why I think audio is so important. One you can do closed caption on top of the video, which is one piece of it. Or people that are blind can also hear. I mean, there's all kinds of things with that. I think that people don't really always think through.
Well, I've changed my webinar technique just because of that, because people still do watch them, but I put in extra detail just for that purpose. I just don't assume because the picture's on the screen that everybody's glued to it. So people doing webinars need to think of that.
Yeah, because it used to be in speaking days when you have a captive audience staring at a screen, you're staring in a room, you can control that environment. Right. You can't control the environment on a webinar. You have no clue what they're doing.
They try. They say, okay, turn off this, turn off that, sedate the kids, muzzle the dog, but you just can't do it.
There was it was a class I was in. So it was like a 5 or 6 week class, and it was on Zoom, and a lot of the people kept their videos on. A lot of people just turned their videos off, but definitely everyone was muted. But I remember this one time someone wasn't muted, and you could hear like they're in the bath. They're like, and someone's like, hey, you're in the bath. You need to like mute yourself before you do something.
Hey, do you know Lorrie Morgan?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to get her. One time, it was a holiday or something. I'm doing a teleseminar, and my guys weren't around to record it. And so I was asking for some help. And Lorrie said, I'll do it for you, Tom. I'll do it for you. I said, well, you sure you know what you're doing? Oh, yeah, Tom, I can do it. And tease her about this next time you see her. And so throughout, I'm hearing her giggling when I say something. This is not right. She should have been muted and all that. So after a while, you hear tinkle, 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 tinkle. She's in the bathroom. You got to hit her up about that. She'll never live that.
Oh, my God. Well, yeah. I mean, do you remember, like, Alex Mendoza used to do teleseminar secrets, right, for 12 weeks during Christmas.
Yeah.
And by the way, people, if you don't know what I'm talking about, his teleseminar secrets for 12 weeks, every time there was a session, it was like 4 hours.
Right. Yeah. He is deep.
4 hours. So you would like walk around, cooking dinner. You'd have it on speaker. You just like go around.
You didn't have iPhones like this in those days either.
No, I had the phone where I put on speaker. I mean, seriously. So it was crazy, and I would listen. I listened to all of them for years, and I remember one time I was dating this guy. He's like, "How long is this thing?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna go till like midnight." He's like, "What the hell are y'all talking about?" I'm like, "Seminar secrets, man. It's all Christmas stuff." Yeah. Anyway, I mean, we going back. I know. Anyway, I want everyone to check out Tom at Screw the Commute podcast. Go check it out. Subscribe.
ScrewTheCommute.com is good, or you could do /resources, or go to her show notes. She'll have links and stuff.
ScrewTheCommute.com. Is that really your website?
Yes. I've never had a job. I mean, I've lived a couple lives because, I mean, my resume looks like BS because I've done so darn many things because I haven't been sitting in traffic making other people rich. That's what I want for everybody.
Screw the commute. Screw the commute.
Screw it.
All right, everyone. This is Heather Havenwood. You're listening to with Tom Antion. You can check me out at heatherhavenwood.com. And also you can go check him out, screwthecommute.com. And Tom Antion, this has been a pleasure walking back down memory lane.
Remember, you get red velvet muffins for having me on.
I do get red velvet.
You guys tell me where to send them.
I'll send you my address. It's been awesome to, reminisce of the past and how many years we've been along doing this journey together. It's been crazy, and welcome to the podcasting world.
And I'll be talking to you soon on mine.
I'll be on Screw the Commute. I actually haven't left the house today.
Good for me neither.
Yeah, I know. Like there was one time I didn't leave the house for like 48 hours. I walked outside. I'm like, oh, look at there's that outside and everything, because I just like sit at home and, we just make
I've done the travel the world stuff. I'm happy to sit here. I got my dogs.
I do want to say that. I think it's I want to keep peace here is that as you know, I used to travel the country, right?
Yep.
And so whenever anyone's like, I want to be a speaker and I want to travel, I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
Especially now with the seats getting smaller, they're making the bathrooms smaller. Did you hear that on the news?
I did.
I can't stand it up as it is.
I know. There's nothing exciting about traveling unless I'm going to Bora Bora and like some place with a margarita.
There could be a typhoon when you get there.
Yeah. I just don't want to deal with that. I guess I'm so bad. People are like, where are you going for the holidays? I'm like, nowhere.
That's right. Oh, and
anyway,
that's why internet stuff and podcasting is perfect. You can you don't even have to have a good hair day. You don't. I do today for you, but I don't normally. And I agree with that. I think that sometimes people get all like, oh, I'm traveling. I don't miss the traveling. I really don't. I may be traveling 3 times a year at this point, but there was a time, as you know, I traveled 50 weeks out of the year. And I do not miss it. I don't miss it because it was just a lot of drama. And so every time that I make money online, I'm just so grateful that I don't have to be, in the traffic. I don't have to be in the traffic with TSA or getting felt up. I just don't have to do that. And I think that's very blessing. Yeah, if you have to pay to get felt up, there's something wrong. Exactly. If I didn't get paid. Oh my God. All right, everyone. This is Heather Havenwood and Tom Antion. We could be here forever. We're going to have a lot of comedy show. And check me out at heatherhavenwood.com. Check him out at screwthecommute.com. And you're listening to Like a Boss. Bye.